Hello everyone, so today I will be showing you how you can install Ubuntu on your desktop. First you need to go to ubuntu.com and then go to the download section here. As you can see, you will find many options for downloading Ubuntu. You can either use it for your desktop, for your server, also for IoT as in for Internet of Things, and for the cloud as well. I want to mention also that on the bottom right here you can find Ubuntu Flavors, which is basically the same Ubuntu just with different desktop environments. So if you don't like the default GNOME that comes by default on Ubuntu desktop, you can definitely change it if you want to. For the Ubuntu desktop you will find two different versions. One is the LTS release, which stands for the long-term support release. The latest one is the 20.04. Another one is the rolling release, which is the latest release that's updated constantly. So it's less stable and developers don't work on it as much as they do on the long-term support version. So I recommend that you start with the 20.04 LTS version. If you click here, your download will start immediately. This will download an ISO file, which is around 2.6 gigs, and then you will need to create a bootable USB drive from this ISO file. You can do so using Rufus, for example, or another tool is ISO2USB. After creating the USB bootable drive, you then need to boot and make sure that you are booting from the USB drive itself, and then I will show you what you will find there. So when you first boot from the USB drive, you will find you have two options: try Ubuntu or install Ubuntu. The first option, try Ubuntu, will actually switch you to a full operating system just from your USB drive, and you don't need to actually install it on your systems if you are still unsure if you want to fully switch to Linux or you want to test the compatibility with your hardware first with no impact on your current setup. On the other hand, if you have already made up your mind and decide to make the full switch, go with the Install Ubuntu option. Next, you will be asked to choose your keyboard layout. You can actually try if it's the right keyboard layout, or let Ubuntu help you detect the right keyboard layout for you from here. For me, that's fine, so I will click Continue. Next, you will have two kinds of installations. The normal installation, which is basically the default one, and that gives you a lot of handy additional softwares installed immediately on your system. On the other hand, the minimal installation, if you don't want any additional software such as the Office or games or media players. However, I recommend you go with the normal installation one if it's your first time installing Linux or Ubuntu. The other options you have here is whether to download the updates while installing Ubuntu, so you make sure that your current Ubuntu version is the latest one and has the latest updates. The second one is very important, especially if you have an NVIDIA graphics card or if you actually want to use the very famous proprietary media formats such as PDF or MP3. So I guess you will want to check that by default unless you know exactly what formats or what kind of hardware do you have on your machine. Then you can click on Continue. Now that's the most critical part here. If you already have Windows installed, you might find another third option here, whether to install it alongside Windows, or if it's a new machine, you can actually erase the whole disk and install Ubuntu on it and let Ubuntu handle the partitioning system for you. If you already know about the partitioning system of Linux, how it works and what exactly do you want to do with it, you can actually customize it yourself. However, if it's your first time using Linux or Ubuntu, I suggest you go or let Ubuntu do the partitioning for you and then just click Install Now. This is a confirmation that to know that you have already backed up your disk if you already have anything before on it, and because this will start erasing all the data you have on your hard drive. So I'm pretty sure that I want to do that, so I will do Continue. Next, it actually asks you where are you, so it can set the time and zone for you. You can actually click it here on the map, and this will also choose the default date formats and time formats for you as well. So let's choose the UK one, for example, because I like the date formats to be that way. We can also always change that later if we want to, and then click Continue. Now that's important. Who are you? Which is your username you can have multiple users on the same computer. However, your computer as a whole has its own name that other computers on the same network or on the internet will see. So I will choose another one. If you're the only one using these computers, then you can choose any password. I will go with 1234, for example. And because I will be the only one using this computer, I will ask it to log in automatically. If you have multiple users using the same machine, you might need to require a password every time you log in. And then click continue. Now this is the actual installation process. It might take some time depending on your hardware. But meanwhile, you can actually look at the slideshow here and check the default applications that will come with your installation and check what you can do with Linux. Now the installation is complete and all you need to do is just restart, and that's it. You now have a fully functional Ubuntu operating system on your machine. First steps are just optional, you can skip that for now. And actually choose no if you don't want to send any of your system information to Canonical or any other enterprise, and then click next. And I would not allow my machine to actually access my location, and then click next, and then you can choose some of the useful software you can download right away, or you can open software to find other useful software for your machine. You can just click done here and you can just use your operating system, use your web browser for example. You can find your file manager. You can actually find your software, Ubuntu Software Marketplace here, which is the Snap Store, where you can find a huge catalog of free available software for your machine to install. So that's it, you have successfully installed Ubuntu on your desktop and you can use it as your day-to-day desktop. Thank you for watching.